What up, everybody? Welcome to the Brunch Gimmick. I am Laurence Cartier, back again. What a night we had last night. Of course, last night was Elimination Chamber. If you're watching right now, if you're watching on Twitter or X, please give that a retweet. If you're watching on YouTube, please give us a like. Smash that like button. Let people know we're live right now. We are going to be doing a quick recap of Elimination Chamber. Obviously, last night I was live with Zach, with Pluggo. We discussed the entire show last night. So if you want to watch the replay of that, we did that on Twitch last night, so you can't watch the replay of that. We did a return to Twitch. Before we get into it, how was everyone's weekend? Last night I made... She had a very fun day yesterday before Elimination Chamber. I hit up the Montreal Victoire game. They play one game a year at the Bell Center. And I went to that. And everyone, if you have a professional women's hockey league team in your town, go out and check. The product is so good. So I had a great time. Especially given that I was like 5 rows from the ice, and they literally scored the overtime winner right in front of me. Lost my mind, beating Boston 3-2 in overtime. Had a great time. Then Elimination Chamber started not long afterwards. I literally got home, and an hour or two later, Elimination Chamber started. What a pay-per-view. Definitely setting a fire on the road to WrestleMania. Lit that switch. From almost every single match had a twist, barring one or a big return. If you're in the chat watching, let me know what you thought of the pay-per-view or the PLE. For me, I love the whole card. I honestly really love Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. I thought they beat the hell out of each other. I felt a little bit it was hampered by the weight of expectation because it was a unsanctioned match, and you're expecting almost a death match style, almost not quite there, but you're expecting a little more. But they still went all out and beat the hell out of each other. And my only thing is I don't know where Sami Zayn goes from here. I'm very much it seems like they're going to put him in a step down from the position he is a little bit, just for the time being, which sucks. He should be firmly in the heavyweight title picture right now. And the fact he isn't really sucks. And we got to the other big moment of the show. Well, one of two. We also got Jade Cargill returning and seemingly blaming Naomi for assaulting her and putting her on, smashing her through a windshield. Which maybe she also did it for The Rock. We don't know. They're in the same family, so maybe she also did it for The Rock. but that also sets up a really, like, it really does set up a lot of cool things for WrestleMania potentially. You got Bianca Belair winning that match, which personally I feel like very, very, very well deserved, and like I think sets up the best match, like option out of there. I think, and again, I don't want to look past Io Sky, but like it looks the odds-on favorite is going to be Rhea Ripley retaining. Uh-oh. I got my co-host from last night who had maybe one too many popping in.
I always have one too many.
But just a singular one. That just the one. It's like I reference it a lot with my brother. The Monty Python Meaning of Life sketch where it's a large gentleman at a restaurant and they keep feeding him, and like they're like every time that he eats something else they're waiting for him to explode, and at the end of the meal he's just like, sir, would you like a wafer thin mint, sir? It's like, yes, I would. And he eats the wafer thin mint and he explodes, and there's just like waves and waves of like viscous fluid and stuff, like just like gross out humor all over them for like a fall of 30 seconds of this gentleman exploding.
Right on. Yeah.
But how are you feeling this morning, buddy?
I'm doing all right. I just published an article on the website on lovewrestling.ca. For anyone who didn't catch the press conference, I have written a little scrum summary, scrummery, if you will. Very proud of that pun, by the way. So you can get the whole highlights from the scrum at a glance right at lovewrestling.ca.
Yep, you already trademarked it and are ready to sue anyone who uses scrummery ever again.
Oh, I will absolutely.
It's taking the streets by fire. I'm already told.
Hashtag scrummery. The press conference, it was what it was. It was, they really can't decide whether they want these things to be kayfabe or not, because, you have Triple H coming out and he's like addressing that there was like obstacles in the timeline of the Jade Cargill story, that like they weren't sure exactly what her timeline was on returning to the ring. And so there was a lot of like kicking the can down the road, and also just like stating that John Cena is challenging himself as a performer with this heel turn. And I'm like, man, I don't really know what direction we're going with this, because then you follow it up with they receive questions about like, how long has this master plan been unfolding? And I don't know.
Yeah.
So that was the first and last scrummery, if that's the trend on how these press conferences will go. I was glad to do it given the circumstances, but ultimately, like, doing a write-up on these press conferences, want a little more meat on those bones if I'm going to be doing that transcription.
Yeah, like there wasn't too much. Like, of course, we Spencer came in and like while we were doing the show, let us know that the John Cena just came in to drop the mic and then left. And then after that was followed by The Rock, who gave a longer, stayed pretty long to answer questions. In all fairness, he answered quite a few.
Yeah.
Like he was willing to take quite a few questions, and like it was like the more interesting stuff was him just like talking about his process, about like how he's like learned from WrestleMania X8 till now, and like stuff he's learned. But like other than that, we didn't get much from the press conference. Okay. I just read your private message.
Yeah. Well, I guess I could just say it now. Since like it's not so, we'll not be here for the entire brunch. Just wanted to pop in and say hello. Appreciate you holding the fort down on the brunch gimmick, Lawrence. But yeah, I just wanted to come in and say hello.
Yeah. But yeah, we discussed it a bit last night. What, like, now that you have like the morning to think about it a little bit, like, what do you think is going to happen next with Cena and The Rock?
I mean, I think you just have a pretty straightforward tale of babyface versus heel going into this. I mean, like, you got the heel turn you never thought you'd see with John Cena and Cody Rhodes, who, again, for as loud as people on the internet want to be, the people in the arena are always going to be louder. He is always getting he's the consummate baby face. He presently, like, like that momentum is going to keep going, especially if you juxtapose babyface Cody Rhodes against heel John Cena. I mean, I don't know if we need to really rethink the wheel here. As long as John Cena is present on the road to WrestleMania, I think it's going to be a very good thing.
Yeah. Fernando in the chat, they saying the franchise sold his soul. Yeah. Like, if he's going to do new music and he's still going to do his own song, anyone who's listened to that album, they should use the song Bad Man, because it is a catchy tune that he does. That is a good album.
I think there was he had alluded to that, maybe using that when he turned heel, like, in an off the cuff comment years ago.
I mean, they could remix it too. But yeah, definitely a shocking night. From we'll talk quickly about the women's. I like Fernando saying the turn is worthless if he does not win the championship. I think he has to at this point. Like,
oh yeah.
I think it's almost fait accompli that, like, it's funny because what I was thinking about it after the show too last night is everyone that was in the ring celebrating with Cody Rhodes has turned on him or started, like, barring, like, I think even Seth Rollins had a little bit of a confrontation a little bit, but like everyone, like Sammy Haluva kicked him and they have some awkwardness. Kevin obviously had problems with him siding with Roman Reigns, wrestling with Roman Reigns. Like, everyone, Cena, who's in the ring with him celebrating, also had problems with him. Like, clearly, like, it's now like everyone who's in the ring with him had problems with him, because, like, people were like, somebody run out and help him. Like, there's no one left that, like, it's funny, like, Heavy is the head that wears the crown, and he's learning how hard it was to be Roman Reigns the last few years.
That's a good point. That's a good point. You know, now that I think of it, I almost expect another 2-night WrestleMania main event of the first night, the second night, of course, being John Cena versus Cody Rhodes, and the first night being John Cena and The Rock taking on Cody Rhodes and CM Punk.
Yeah. I mean, in the press conference, he did allude to The Rock alluded to Travis Scott potentially wrestling. Which, like, he is at least a thinner man than other celebrity wrestlers. He did slap the living hell out of Cody Rhodes. He took like a clean shot to this. Like, that was a Italian grandmother. That is like a Nona slap to the side of the head.
Did you see like the other angle on Twitter, like full on, like,
boom?
Oh, like, my goodness.
They clearly told him to do it, and he just, like, did not kayfabe or work that punch at all. He went full in. Travis Scott worked stiff, bud.
Yeah. Well, I mean, The Rock said so in the press conference. Yeah. He said to Travis Scott, like, if you want to get blood on your hands, slap the shit out of him.
Yeah.
And he did.
Honestly, like, it honestly, Fernando, like, it feels like that it was like, it's sort of like one of the things on that level of a heel turn, especially for this generation. Like, I had mentioned it before, but like, it is the better version of Austin shaking hands with McMahon to win the title. Like, this is Cena siding with sort of a corporate power to finally achieve his goal of winning his final championship, his 17th championship. So, like, it's one of those, like, definitely monumental nights in pro wrestling.
I would say it's bigger than Austin turning heel, but I don't know if I'd agree that it's bigger than Hogan turning heel. And again, this is not, or this is removed from discussion about the quality of character that is Terry Bollea. But Hulk Hogan, when he turned, the only reason I disagree with you there, Fernando, is because Hulk Hogan was still 10 years away from retirement. John Cena is 10 months away from retirement. So I think we got to still say Hogan turning and joining the NWO was the bigger deal. But that doesn't take away with how big last night was. Like, that was still, that remains a shocker, and it's going to do big business for the WWE. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah. Like, I think he's going to remain heel for the rest of the year till probably his last match, where he either like has somebody, he puts somebody over and like sort of dies on his sword, and sort of like finally, like, he sort of like a redemption arc by the end, like, where he like finally sort of redeems himself in the public eye. But like, I'm excited for what he can possibly do with this, because like, it would, like, honestly, what we're getting would have been fine, although been like it would have been fine just him going town to town, like getting his flowers everywhere, like releasing those limited edition shirts. Those
By the way, thank you, Blair, for pointing this out.
Yeah. Oh yes, he had the wrong event. He had the one that just had
had from last week. But go ahead. Sorry, Lawrence.
Yeah, later on, I was pretty much done.
Fair enough. Exciting times. But yeah, I just wanted to kind of pop in, talk a little bit more about Elimination Chamber. But I am going to carry on with my day. I've got a home to clean and things to do, and ideally getting away from a screen for just a little bit.
Yeah.
All right.
Seeing as we're about to get into the topic, and we're about to do the tier list of Oscar actors, before I let you go, who's your favorite wrestler turned actor?
Batista. It's always going to be Batista. Like, again, he was just like an absolute gem when he broke through in his breakout role as Drax the Destroyer. And like, the fact that I haven't seen it yet, but the fact that I'm interested in seeing an M. Night Shyamalan movie because of him, I think that speaks volume. But I think my favorite performance might actually be The Rock in the first one, his first one with Sean William Scott, The Rundown. Just that was like a really wonderful action flick, a lot of fun to watch. But yeah.
Fair enough. Thank you for popping in, Zach. Always nice to talk to you.
Likewise.
Yep.
Have a good show.
Yep. Thank you, buddy. Talk to you soon.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, just to put a bow. What up? New music on saying hello in the chat. But yes, to sum up the pay-per-view, honestly, great pay-per-view. When Triple H this week said it was going to be a monumental event, I personally didn't think much of it, because I'm like, this is just a promoter promoting. But he pretty much delivered on his promise that this was a monumental night. Like, every match but one had a twist return or a massive setup for WrestleMania. Like, all three, you had Jade Cargill, Randy Orton returning, which like I knew was going to happen in that match, which is why like I wasn't happy that like I felt the Sammy Kevin match could have been a Mania match easily. So my thing is, where does Sammy go from here? Because it's clearly going to be Kevin Randy at WrestleMania. And with like in the last match, obviously we've got the massive heel turn we'll be talking about for a long, long time. And like I'm excited for the future there. I think this gives, for his last year, this gives him a lot of meat to chew on there. There's a lot of meat on the bone for John Cena to like creatively to work on for like his last year. as an active professional wrestler, which again, it is professional wrestling. So he can literally return any dime for one more match. So like professional wrestlers don't really retire. And it would be funny if he comes out on his last day in a salmon jacket and you're like, I still got more in the tank. And does a whole other year and works this all over again with everyone who bought like the final the tour limited edition t-shirts. But yeah, a great night. I loved all the reaction. Like I was watching all the reactions after our post show last night. Like most people picked up on everything pretty quickly, and like hearing the crowd slowly pick up and like catch Cena's face and stuff. It was well played. Like top to bottom, everyone did a great job throughout the night. And man, WrestleMania season gets crazier and crazier every year. This was our last pay-per-view before WrestleMania. We obviously have like some other shows and some other like bigger televised events, which during the press conference, Triple H made mention of that. Like, so even the televised events like Raw and SmackDown, some of them have like they are pay-per-view quality. So we're probably going to see some big matches there that could be on WrestleMania. There's a lot still to be figured out within the coming weeks. I'm excited. We have, I think, 48 days now to WrestleMania, which, geez, it happens quicker and quicker every year. Like, before you know it, it's Mania time. But yes, today also big day. I alluded to it earlier when I was talking to Zach. It's Oscar Sunday. I love this time of year because it is it's the most buttoned up award show that almost like so many times crazy, it's not past time, it's crazy shit happens. Like you had them giving the best picture award nominee. You've had streakers in the past. You've had, them giving the best picture award nominee to the wrong movie. You had the most professional wrestling moment I've seen. I was actually at my brother's plate watching with like a couple friends, and the amount of people that were like, "Is it a work or a shoot, brother?" Like even like no non-professional, like everyone all night was trying to figure out if Will Smith's slap was a work or a shoot. And like people breaking it down like, oh, he's hitting his chest. It looks like he's hitting his chest. He's making the sound. But yes, the Oscar night is tonight. And I literally, before everything happened with Cena and The Rock, I'm like, wouldn't it be a good idea to tier list wrestler turned actor? So that's precisely what I'm going to do. I'm going to hit share screen. I have it set up here. There we go. So I'm only doing 4 levels, so this yellow one doesn't count. We've got Oscar-worthy actors, which are like ones that have given like truly great performances throughout. Golden Globe level, which is like wrestlers who like not quite Oscar level, but like still give great performances. MTV Movie Award, which are like your blockbuster, like your big blockbuster movie actor. And of course your Razzie, which are just like they are not very good actors at all. And like none of their performances are very, very good. And like they don't rise above like that level. And of course, Zach, we were starting out with him. Zach mentioned him off rip. And I think it's the more obvious one for me. I'm going to immediately put Big Dave Bautista in Oscar-worthy levels. Like, there is a reason why big-name directors like Denis Villeneuve, he mentioned him, M. Night Shyamalan, why the biggest directors want to consistently work with Big Dave. And it's not because he's a name. Like everyone on here is a big name or like brings a certain level of value and like potential publicity from the wrestling community to acting. It's because he is so good and brings such a depth of emotion to his characters consistently. And like you'll see in like one of my complaints for some of them is his characters are different. It's not Dave Bautista in every role. He legitimately puts in and he made, like he's talked about it before, he has put in the effort ever since he committed to going full-time as an actor. He committed all his efforts into working to be a better actor, and you can see that like every role he has is different. But like the main thing is like there's a like if it's comedy, more dramatic, more of an action role, every time his characters just have a like underlying depth of emotion that he's able to tap into, which is not easy. Something like it can't really be taught. And like I out of like wrestler turned actors, I think he is the at this point odds-on favorite to at least be nominated for an Oscar at some point. Like I think the Academy is still weird about some stuff, so like some of them might have some predilections towards voting a wrestler for an Oscar, which is stupid. Like there's still a lot of like they've tried to change it and try to like give more people voting power throughout the years and create more diversity there in voting. But like if there is a wrestler that gets nominated for an Oscar one day, at this point, from his breadth of work, top to bottom, I think it's easily Dave Bautista. Coming up with, we also just talked about him, Dwayne Johnson, The Rock. Again, when you think of wrestlers turned movie stars, I think he's number one on your list off the top of your head. Like he is the standard bearer for moneymaker, I would say. But The Rock's major problem is sort of like other actors too. It's not just wrestlers, but like other actors. And you could name a few off the top of your heads when you think about it too, is they aren't playing, just like I mentioned just earlier with Dave Bautista, that he's he's legitimately like putting himself completely in his character, and it's not just Dave Bautista in every role. Like The Rock has the opposite thing, where it does feel like it's just The Rock in every role. It's just like, here's a new movie they just changed his name, but it just feels like The Rock every time. Which he is trying to change that, in all fairness. He's got some big roles coming up. He just did that A24 movie last year. He has apparently gotten cast in a Martin Scorsese movie. It's like he heard all the stuff in recent years. People have been saying that Dave Bautista is a better actor. So he is like, I will withhold judgment till I see those movies. In all fairness, like people can put in the work for their acting, and some people can just find that role that, you know, pushes them over the top and just works perfectly for them, and somebody writes perfectly for them. Omar, how you doing, my friend? Omar in the chat. We're breaking down wrestlers who became actors, and we're tier list them right now. Right now we're at The Rock. Like the Rock does have some bigger name directors working with him and trying to work more dramatic fare, I'd feel like, than his, like, for years he was doing Disney movies. But he is, I feel, he's not like, I don't feel he's a Razzie actor quite yet, although his last few movies have potentially knocked him down to that point, like Black Adam bombing and like a couple of well-known, but there's like stuff under, like the Christmas movie he just did, which again wasn't very good, didn't do the numbers that they have felt like they wanted it to do. But I'm gonna put him right now, like he is he is very much in the middle. He is MTV Movie Award. He is a big blockbuster actor. Doesn't quite have hasn't shown the breadth of talent that other wrestlers have. This year is going to be with the next couple of years. I feel with the movies coming up, like I want to see that A24 movie he did to see if that changes anything for him on that end, or like because he could easily go fully down because he's had like a couple of bombs that were just like cookie cutter paycheck movies of like CGI to all hell, like not even good CGI, just like acting in a warehouse, not really trying movies. Here's somebody else that doesn't get, I feel, the credit he deserves for how good an actor he was. Rowdy Piper. Like, They Live absolutely killed in that role. And like somebody I wish was still like both in it from a wrestling context and from a acting like he was just hitting his stride as an actor and should have been cast in more stuff. Like one of my favorite roles is actually a TV role of his when he was on It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. When he did a cameo appearance in there, when he did a guest star appearance on that episode, they talked about how great he was and how good of a worker he was and how good of an actor he was. Like Rowdy Piper is incredibly talented, both in and out of the ring, and like I felt he deserved to get more roles. Again, he was able to do something like he's able to get like a really good depth of emotion, which is why he was so good in the ring and one of like the best promos and best villains of all time. So it's not surprising as an actor who's able to do the same and be very, very funny and laugh at himself and pro wrestlers. Like, I'm going to put Rowdy Piper squarely in the Golden Globe. He like sadly didn't get to the Oscar worthy square, but like, man, like, do yourself a favor, check out They Live, check out his cameo. Like he's done a bunch of acting in like smaller roles and like different guest star appearances on TV, like a lot of these on the list have. But like the Rowdy Piper definitely had a lot of talent and like sorely missed. And like I wish he was still around acting because man, he was very, very good. And like even like in the ring cutting promo, like man, Rowdy Piper was one of a kind. Next up, somebody whose career is starting to take off, Mercedes Moné. Mercedes, like her biggest like role so far has been on The Mandalorian, but like part of her deal with AEW is so she's able to, and she's been taking more jobs. Like I'm just judging because I've only seen her in The Mandalorian so far, and I felt like she definitely has talent, and like I would like to see more from her and like a deeper depth of roles. Like she's back throwing herself more completely into wrestling currently because she's obviously has a million title belts and therefore has to work a million different promotions. So like the time to work and like put in all of yourself into a role isn't there for her right now. As much as it was, but like I'm very excited to see more from her coming up, but I will put her squarely in the MTV Movie Award category of like a blockbuster actor of a like potential like in the blockbuster-ish territory. And like I feel like she definitely has talent there, but like we're gonna have to see more from her coming up. Of course, next one we have Mr. Phil Brooks, CM Punk, who also in their time off from pro wrestling in that gap year before he went to AEW, and even a little bit when he was in AEW, started doing acting. I personally really liked him on the movie he did. It was a 2019 horror movie called Girl on the Third Floor. I felt that movie was like really, it's very weird and like very gory if you're into that. But I felt like he had the look and vibe of a young Bruce Campbell, which is like sort of the point of that movie. Like it does have like Evil Dead vibes. That movie, I highly recommend people check it out. It's a fun movie, although an incredibly weird horror movie. I felt like I really liked him in that role, and like, oh, he's got talent here. And also, he was on the TV show Heels, playing a pro wrestler, which like I really liked his character in there too. It was a lot of fun. He was obviously having a lot of fun doing it. I think CM Punk has talent there. He mentioned himself. His goal of his for acting is to one day work with Dave Bautista. Like they are friends and have been friends for a while, and like constantly like talk to each other, and like they have a goal of working with each other one day. I think honestly, like CM Punk hasn't gotten the chance to do like big blockbuster movies, but like he also, I feel somebody more in the Golden Globe category, somebody more trying to be more of a serious actor like Dave Bautista, and like again, like those two roles has shown actual acting talent, and like he definitely has something there. But again, like just like Mercedes Monet, he's somebody who is right now full-time in wrestling, doesn't have as much time to throw himself in a role like some of the other people on the list. Next one's going to be a bit of a controversial one, but like somebody, one of those that like I'm not sure about. This is one of the on the list where like everyone I've pretty much had a sure like an idea where they go. Next one is Stone Cold Steve Austin, who has been like again has been acting since he's been since he's been red hot. Like he did TV like guest star appearances on TV shows and stuff like that. Like he also had memorable roles in like The Youngest Lord, who's in The Expendables. Like early on in like 1999, he was in Nash Bridges. He has a fairly extensive up to like he did quite a few movies between like 2005 and 2015. Which you know is his last sister roles, and his last movie roles in 2015. He still has a TV show called Stone Cold Takes on America. But yeah, like I liked him in the Longest Yard remake. Definitely not a great actor. I think by his own admission, I would like to see him in a few more roles, because I do think there's potentially something there. Like I'm leaning towards MTV Movie Award instead of Razzie, because like, oh yeah, that's somebody else I could have added. Terry Funk also did movies back then. Like I was like, there's so many wrestlers who've done like a few movies or like more movies than you think they did, and you're like, you look at their Wikipedia, like man, they were in a bunch of stuff that like especially when like their heyday, when they're really popular, they might have done like a bunch of TV or a bunch of movies, but like some of them, the movies might not have like gotten the notoriety they deserved, and they just have like cult followings. But Stone Cold, I'll probably put him in the MTV Movie Award category of somebody who's been in blockbusters not necessarily the most acting talent in the world, but like there's like a little bit of something there. Next up, Andre the Giant. Andre is somebody, if he was still here, I think he's up there with Dave Bautista. I think like Princess Bride is an all-time role. I think like you could also potentially put it in the Golden Globe territory for me, but I think he also, for a dude his size, and like, oh yeah, I mentioned that too. They live in his like role in It's Always Sunny are two of like my all-time favorite like wrestler roles. Like Piper is somebody I wish was still here, both from a wrestling context and like also he's a human being, but like also as an acting context. He was incredibly talented as an actor, I felt. Andre also was somebody that committed himself fully into acting and like putting himself in the role. I'm going to put him in the Oscar role, in the like Oscar-worthy role, because I feel like you could potentially like he had a depth of emotion to him that like a great director could have done something with, and like just the right role would have definitely popped up there. Next up, the Macho Man Randy Savage. Oh yeah, like again, somebody whose personality, who is so big that like you almost like he can't not be something that like that's not him. Like he can't. If you got Roddy Piper there, he's gonna be. I mean, not Roddy Piper. You got Macho Man there. He's gonna be Macho Man. But like fitting Macho Man into places is a lot of fun. Like playing Bonesaw in Spider-Man was an all-time role and like a memorable role. He, granted, like just playing versions of himself in these roles, but like it's still great to see him in those universes and work perfectly. Like the choices he made with it. Like him in Ready to Rumble. Again, just playing versions of himself, but like such fun versions of himself that you could almost like he could never be like an Academy Award winner or like a big thing, but like definitely a dude who's an MTV Movie Award. Like this is a dude who could make fun popcorn movies. You could fit him into any fun popcorn movie as himself, and like you'd have a good time. Like you get fit him. Like he's not a great actor by any stretch of the imagination. He was always playing himself, because you hire the Macho Man, you're not hiring like Mr. Palfo. You're hiring the Macho Man, Randy Savage. Oops, that one's wrong. Sorry, I did accidentally duplicated The Rock. You know what? Fuck it. We'll just say, because I don't have the picture up. We'll do actually Chris Jericho is next. Chris Jericho, again, just talking about his filmography and stuff he's done. He's done a lot of small roles in movies and horror movies recently. Most recently, he was in the Terrifier franchise. In the last one, spoiler alert, he does get murdered. He was in Terrifier 2 and Terrifier 3. He was in the Jay and Silent Bob reboot as a KKK Grand Wizard. Like, he was also in MacGruber. Like, there. He has somebody who like does have comedic talent. I feel like is willing to like give themselves to a role fully, like, but like the movies he gets, and like he just like, I don't feel there's much more than the level he's had he can go. Like, I feel he definitely a dude who's in a box, and that's very much the like D-list movie. I don't see him even being in a major blockbuster, like, unless he has a small role, like he gets put into like a voice acting role. But like, I see him as a potential horror movie for life actor. I think I'm leaning right now to be him being the first Razzie actor on the list. Next up is somebody I'm very, because like his biggest role that he has that he just did was straight up a non-speaking role, but he is so great in it. Like that like he deserves to get talked about, and that's Samoa Joe. Samoa Joe obviously just came off. He's just finished filming the second season, which is releasing in like a couple months. I think this summer, I believe it comes out. The new season, the first trailer is out for the new season, so it should be coming out soon. The second season of Twisted Metal, but he is so great. He obviously plays Sweet Tooth on the show, and like what he does should not be underestimated. How hard it is when you are just playing the body of somebody, and obviously, like, he's not. Somebody else is doing the voice for Sweet Tooth, and he is doing all the physical stuff for it. And to just do the physical acting for a role, especially when you've got to like the voice acting has to sync up perfectly with it. He does such a great job, and everyone at Twisted Metal has like talked about how great it is working with him, how talented of an actor he is. Like, it's almost harder when you can't talk and just have to get a lot of things over just through physicality. And he does a great job with it. Like, honestly, underrated show, that Twisted Metal show. Like, very funny. Like, not a great, like, Emmy Award winning show, but like still a very fun show that I feel like Samoa Joe does a great job. He's also been doing voiceover work for, like, again, we're talking about, like, I'm just going to do it acting in general. Like, he's doing a lot of voiceover work for video games and stuff, which is great. Like, he's in the Yakuza game, which is coming out this year. It just came out, I believe. He's in the Game of Thrones game, the Suicide Squad game. Like, he's doing a lot of voiceover work. So, like, obviously his voice, we know as a professional, as a commands presence. I think he's somebody who's deserving of more roles. And like, what he does is like so good. I'm going to put him in the Golden Globe category. Like, I think the physical acting he does in Twisted Metal is that good. And like, everyone on that set and everyone who's seen that role, I was like, yeah, he's putting on a great performance. And the fact, like, he has the harder job out of everyone there. Because like, he also can't rely on his face either. He has to get everything over with just his like body, his lower body, because he's wearing a mask. He's wearing the Sweet Tooth mask throughout the whole thing. So he not only can't use his voice, he can't use his facials either, and still is able to get a depth of emotion over with his character, which can't be understated. Like, it is not an easy thing to do, and I hope to see some more Joe and more roles coming out, more like, especially like straight up acting roles. Next up, somebody who, for good reason, has given up on their acting. That is one of the people who are consistently considered Booker of the Year, Hunter Hill Helmsley, Mr. Paul Levesque, Triple H. you're like somebody who I think biggest role was in the much maligned Blade Trinity. He's done like a WWE movie called Inside Out with Michael Rappaport. Gross. He again after that was just like WWE produced voiceover work for like Scooby-Doo and stuff where he's just playing himself and surfs up to Wave Mania. Like it's all mostly WWE produced stuff that he like I think they talked him into doing and like gave him the extra paycheck. Outside of Blade Trinity, he did Relative Strangers. Like I remember him from like a couple of his TV roles, like the Drew Carey Show, which was one of my favorite all-time sitcoms, as well as the Bernie Mac Show. He played himself. And like he is somebody to his own admittance, not a great actor. I think he is somebody who clearly has given up on it, and probably for the best that he's in the role, but like definitely a actor you'd put in the Razzie role. Like that category, just like to his own admittance, like, oh, acting is like, and to his credit, it's like, oh, acting might not be for me. Like, I love professional wrestling. I'm much, much better at this and storytelling through this. Oh, he should be like, just fair play to him. Like, Blade Trinity was the worst one of that franchise for a reason. It wasn't entirely hinging on him. Like, they didn't give him much in that movie, but like, yeah, like there's a reason why Triple H is a booker now and not in the position The Rock was in. And last up, the person who made all the headlines last night, also one of the more incredibly busy actors on this list, Mr. Jonathan Cena, as he's now, as a heel, would like to be known. John Cena. John Cena has, like, he's an interesting one. Because, like The Rock, he has sort of that thing where you like, it's John Cena in that role. But I think he is better, and he's a better actor than The Rock. I feel John Cena is like, he's also like that big blockbuster actor who's been in Transformers. He's been like, but like at the same time, he does a lot. He's been doing a lot of those like straight to streamer movies, or like recently, like Ricky Stenicki, which honestly wasn't terrible. It was like pretty funny, like straight up comedy. Like he does a lot of comedy. John Cena, like he did like a few of them in a row that came out. Let me see if I can get but I think his best role, clearly, and one that he's really been able to seek his teeth into, has been Peacemaker. Like, I think that show's really good. Like, both his role in the Suicide Squad and then the spinoff with the Peacemaker. David saying he's Oscar worthy. Here's the thing. I don't think he's quite there yet. I think he's an incredibly talented comedic performer. I think we need to see a little more dramatic. Like, he has shown abilities to get, especially in the Peacemaker show. He is great in that. And like, he is somebody that commits fully to it. Like, to every role he does, he commits fully his whole heart. And like, will do what clearly somebody who does whatever the director tells him and doesn't have like, he will make himself look absolutely ridiculous and stuff. And like, I think he is like, from when he started, from the point where he started committing more and more to movies, he definitely, he's done more comedic stuff. And like, I would like to see him in a, like one more dramatic role to put him in Oscar worthy. But I feel he's definitely above The Rock and definitely Golden Globe worthy. Like, he is a talented performer. And I don't think, I think comedic performances don't get the respect they deserve at how hard it is. Like what he does in Peacemaker, which again, if you haven't seen it, please go check it out. It's a very, very fun show. Even if you're not like a big DC fan, they can sort of catch you up on everything that happens. And like probably some of the best products like one of the better products that the DC universe has produced is that show. And like John Cena commits fully to that character. Like I feel like he's above The Rock on that level. Not quite where Dave Bautista is, where Dave Bautista has worked with those A-list directors, like I mentioned before, like a Denis Villeneuve or like an M. Night Shyamalan or like other directors on that level. But I think he's not far. And like, it's just one, I think the way he commits to comedy, if he can do that with a dramatic role, I think he can soon be Oscar worthy. I don't think he's quite there yet. I think he's close. I think he's closer than a lot of people give him credit for. And like, he's able to do those big like blockbuster movies, but also like he does pump out a lot of like streamer movies. Like he did like Jackpot 2, like Ricky Stenicki and Jackpot. I think another one, just like 1, 2, 3 in a row last year, which are fun movies, but are like the kind of fun movies that are very disposable and you forget about them like 20 minutes later. But again, like even to those movies, he commits fully to those characters. So I'm going to put him in the Golden Globe category to close it out. I think like John Cena does have talent there and does, like Dave Bautista, commits fully to it and does take it seriously, even like the most ridiculous stuff. But like, I don't think he's quite there yet. I would like to see him in more dramatic roles. I like to see him take a risk, which is like something The Rock's trying to do this, like with his next few movies, next couple of movies. But like, I don't think The Rock quite has that talent that John Cena has, because The Rock is always gonna be The Rock, no matter what. But yeah, that is our list for now. I think, like I said earlier when I talked about Dave Bautista being potentially brought in for an Oscar conversation, I think wrestlers don't get quite the respect they deserve for how good actors some of them are. I think some of them have to like commit more to that like art form, because acting is harder than you think it is. It's one of those things that like is both like it's not working like a regular day job, like but it also is at the same time incredibly hard to nail a great performance. And like, there's a lot of people on this list that have the talent there that I think if they just did get more roles and get like, especially if they work with better directors, can really bring out better performances. But that's our list for today. Yeah, I honestly think it's a matter of time till Dave Bautista at least gets nominated for an Oscar. I'll say that. I think he's the odds-on favorite of professional wrestler to win an Oscar, because that dude's just fully committed to it and been working with the best directors who can. So that is also our show for this week. I want to thank Zach for popping in earlier to talk, to close out Elimination Chamber. Again, crazy night. We just finished talking about John Cena. John Cena, we're in a 2025. John Cena is a heel now. Everyone is learning to embrace the hate, apparently. That's the theme of 2025. Everyone now give up, is what John Cena is going to tell us all on Monday Night Raw or on SmackDown. Don't try. There's no point. Only sadness. And that's how I'm going to close out this week. I want to thank everyone who hopped in the chat. Omar, Fernando, David, New Music Inferno for hopping in on Twitter to say hey. A lot of fun to chat with this. Like, again, like I'm a big wrestling fan and a big pop culture nerd. So when the tuners sect, it like nothing makes me happier than talk about both sides of it. As for me, you can follow me at KurtZNDG on all platforms, on Instagram, Blue Sky, Twitter. I'm going to be more on Blue Sky, I swear. I need to start getting away from Twitter a little bit. And you can catch me back here, same time, same place next week. We'll be potentially setting up the AEW pay-per-view and doing picks there next week, because next week is Revolution, I believe, is the name of the pay-per-view. Either way, we'll see you back here next week. Thanks for hanging out with me. I hope you have a great rest of your weekend. If you're watching the Oscars, I hope you have fun with it. Do an Oscar pool. And just have a great rest of your weekend, everybody. I appreciate you guys for taking the time and hanging out. Have a good weekend. Bye.